What up? Welcome back to another video. Today's gonna be a special one. One thing that I always used to kind of get questions about, or that I would have questions about when I was starting out with discipline and I talked to my friends about it, was what do you do? So, one of the biggest things with a lot of guys who are getting into discipline is they're like, do I hit the gym harder? Do I maybe start meditating? Do I journal? What are the three main things that I can do to better my life? Because a lot of times when you're starting out, you don't really know what's going to give you the most results. You don't know what's going to really, fix that depression or that, kind of feeling of like numbness to life that you have. And for everyone, it can be different. Some people really enjoy meditation. Some people really enjoy journaling. Some people love the gym. Some people love running, swimming, whatever it is. And so I figured I'd put together a list of the three main things that I think are pretty much one size fits all for everyone that you should be doing in order to help you to better your life. And I think that with these three things, as long as you start to implement them today, get on a consistent schedule with them, and then put these into your life will improve. And with that, you can add to it. You can start to do, additional things that I don't mention in this video. But at the very basics, if you don't know what to start with, or if maybe you already started self-improvement, but you just want to see what you might be missing, this video will help you. So stay tuned. I'm going to hop on my laptop. I got a little slideshow to show you guys, and I'm going to show you exactly the three things that you can do. Sheesh. All right, let's get into this. So I put together this list because these are the three main things that I could say confidently since I started discipline have been like the three main things that really help me to live a better life, to make me happier every day. And I feel like in general, as long as I stick to these three things, even if I kind of fall off some of my other habits, as long as I keep these in check, I'm always able to bounce back pretty quickly and pretty easily, and still feel good. So let's get right the fuck into it. For the first slide here, I gotta say the main thing if you're a man, you should be quitting is smoking. Drinking, I'm not going to get into it right now. Obviously, everyone has their own opinions. You can drink once a month, twice a month, I feel like, and it won't really kind of mess up your locked in period. Now, personally, I don't drink at all. And if you're someone who's as extreme as me, or at least really cares about your health as much as I do, because I am, really big into health, quit drinking entirely. But just I'll set that aside. Let's get into smoking. So as far as smoking, I think you should completely quit it out of your life. Now, when I'm talking about smoking, I'm talking about all nicotine, so even Zins, right? But on top of that, when I'm talking about it, I mean stogies, vapes, cigars, cigs. Personally, y'all didn't see anything. Personally, I've had really bad experiences with nicotine in the past. I smoked since I was about 13, 14 years old, and I smoked nicotine for, well, shit, I quit it earlier this year, but it's been on and off since then. And it's been something that's really controlled my life. And every time that I've gotten on it, it's been a mission to get off of it. Not saying it's impossible or that the withdrawals are that crazy, but it is a decision that you have to make and stick to. And it can be very hard to do, especially if you're surrounding yourself with other people who do it. So I guess I didn't add it to this, but if you're quitting nicotine, quit hanging out with people who smoke it regularly. And I don't mean like fully cut them off, but stay away from those people, because especially as you're first quitting nicotine, quitting vaping, smoking, it's gonna be hard for you to stay off of it. And I think that if you're around people who are doing it all the time, you're gonna fold. So personally, stay away from those people. Maybe kick it with them when it's like, you're going to do something, but not if you're just gonna sit in the car and talk, because they're probably gonna do it next to you and you'll end up folding. So that's my 2 cents. But quit it. Really getting into it right now with nicotine. Oh, and real quick, let's make a distinction. Hookah, yeah, it's tobacco. Personally, I think you can do hookah once in a while. Like I said, with drinking once a month, it's cool. The reason I think hookah is different than the rest of these is it's not as easily accessible. As long as you don't own your own hookah and you're going to a lounge with your buddies or your family, whatever, you're getting food or maybe just some water and chilling and smoking the hookah, it can actually be a really good vibe. You can get some work done. So I think hookah's cool as long as you do it once in a while. Again, personally, I care about my health, so I don't smoke hookah anymore. But if you make sure to make it like a once in a while thing like drinking, it's not a big deal. The reason that I think stogies, vapes, cigars, cigs, and Zins are really bad for you is because for me, I remember there were certain times where I would wake up in the middle of the night for absolutely no reason. It wasn't like there was a sound or light or whatever. My sleep would just get disrupted, and I wake up in the middle of the night to take a hit off the vape and go back to sleep. Now, I don't know if like maybe it was just like luck or chance, whatever, that I woke up in the middle of the night, wanted to hit it. But personally, I believe my body craved it, and after hours of not hitting it throughout the night, it decided to wake up and get that hit. So That's what I believe, but at the end of the day, that's one form of how it controls you. Another one I can tell you is when I was a freshman in college, and I didn't finish college, just to throw that out there, but when I was a freshman in college, I remember I had a final for econ, and yeah, this is my freshman year. I had a final for econ, and I was heading to class, and then my vape died, and I had a choice between going to class and taking my final or going to the smoke shop and getting another vape. And my dumbass went to the smoke shop and got another vape and got dropped out of the class. And yeah, obviously you might not be as stupid as I was back in freshman year, but again, it controlled me. It can control you. Addictions are serious. Obviously, you don't want to be addicted to anything in life. And so I think that nicotine is one of those ones that's really something you got to watch out for. And personally, you don't need in your life. You should cut it out. A lot of people will make the argument that it's like good for focus if you're doing like productive work. That's BS. Personally, you don't need it. Obviously, I think that, yeah, having that stimulation can help you focus, but it comes with addiction. It destroys your dopamine signaling. So that's another thing too, is when you start getting on nicotine for a long time, it really messes up your dopamine levels to where you start to enjoy things less. You need to have the vape with you. It's something that like you crave and you'll really go out of your way to go get. Like I said, it controls you, and with that as well, when you don't have it, you just feel like you're not able to enjoy the moment as much as you would if you had a vape. It's bad for health and fitness. I don't really need to get into that. Personally, you should already know it's bad for your lungs. It's bad for your breathing. If you're someone like me who likes to do, physical activity, like to do sprints, maybe you like to just work out in the gym, you'll notice that you run out of breath quicker. It really messes with your ability to last in the gym. And so, again, that's another huge reason, especially if you're a runner. Yeah, nicotine really fucks with it. So quit nicotine. The second thing I want to throw in here, a lot of people will argue against it, and there's this whole bullshit movement of people saying that, oh, weed's healthy, it's good for you, it's natural, this and that. Cut that shit out. It's not good for you. That's all propaganda. Weed is actually worse for you than nicotine, in my opinion, and the reason I'm saying that is because yeah, nicotine is terrible for your lungs and cause cancer, so can weed. But at the same time, the issue with weed is that it messes your memory up. If you're someone who's on a strict diet, it can cause overeating. You're hungry, you'll make stupid decisions when you're high and maybe go eat junk food or some bullshit like that that you don't want to do, but you did it because you were high. Like I said, memory loss like will really fuck up your memory loss. Weeks, months will go by and you'll try to think what you did and you can't remember because you were high the whole month. So fuck weed. Even occasionally, I don't think you should be smoking weed. Like maybe like alcohol once a month. Okay, there's an argument for that. I'm not gonna get into it, but personally, cut it out of your life. You don't need it. Biggest thing with weed, it ruins your ability to be present in life. It puts you in your thoughts in your head. Some people can be, productive stoners. I've seen it before. You're able to get work done and be high. But again, you don't need to. You can do it sober and probably operate at a much better level rather than fighting against yourself by being high. And with that, yeah, living sober and being present in your life is the number one thing because it makes time move slower. Personally, when I was smoking weed, time was flying by. Yeah, I was high, I was in my head a lot, but days, weeks, months would fly by, wasted. And our time on this earth is very short. Our lives are very short. And so you should not be doing anything that speeds up that time, but rather slows it down. The best way to slow down time in your life and live as long and fulfilling life as possible is being present in every single moment, not worrying about the future, not worrying about the past, which takes me into how weed worsens anxiety. A lot of people have experienced this. I experienced this. Weed can cause paranoia, but most specifically causes anxiety. It gets you in your thoughts. It gets you thinking deeper and deeper about things that don't really require you to be thinking about them deeper, and you end up getting lost in it, and it can, again, worsen your anxiety, but on top of that, make time move faster and really make you kind of miss out on things that are important in life. It can destabilize mood for some people, especially if you're on that really addicted level where you need it and you're not smoking it. Now you're feeling like you're shit, like you're in a bad mood. I've had that. And then the absolute last thing, which is one of the most important things, your REM sleep. Weed wrecks your sleep. REM sleep is important. You need to be having deep sleep with dreams. Weed ruins your dreams, so weed ruins your sleep. Quit weed. Boom. So the second thing that you need to be doing in your life as a man to make your life better right now, if you're not already doing this, hop on the train, man. You're late, but start lifting weights, okay? I don't think you're ever too late in life to be lifting weights. You should always be getting in the gym and making yourself stronger. But come on now, if you're a man, if you're in your teens, if you're in your 20s and you're not lifting weights, you need to get in the gym. There's so many reasons for it. Some people will say, oh, I don't care about my physique. I don't care about my looks, whatever. Personally, yes, I do it for the aesthetic of my body. I enjoy looking at my body when it's muscular. But the number one reason that I've realized why I need to be in the gym after I've been lifting for 6 years now, the number one reason I've realized that I need to be in the gym is because when you're in control of your body, you're in control of your mind. And if you're constantly putting your body through hard things, lifting heavy weights, pushing yourself, doing it even when you don't want to do it, that forces your body to show it that your mind is in control. You don't just act on whatever feels good in the moment. You don't act lazy, but your mind decides when your body does what it does. And I think another great way to train your body to submit to your mind is cold showers. If you're someone who doesn't want to get in the shower because it's freezing in the morning, but you do it anyways, you're training your body to realize your mind is in control. One of the most powerful skills you can have as a man. But back into it, the gym is super important for this. The gym is super important that you lift weights, you get stronger, you put on muscle. Now, I'm not saying you need to be super big. I'm not saying you need to have like huge arms, huge chest, huge back. It's not important. I just think you need to be somewhat toned, and that's why I threw calisthenics in there, because you're doing body weight stuff. A lot of calisthenics guys have a really great physique. They're not super huge, bulky, but they do have good muscle tone, and on top of that, they're extremely strong. And most importantly, obviously, when you're an old man, when your back is giving out on you, your knees are giving out on you, muscle will save you. Skeletal muscle is actually shown to be one of the number one leading causes of injury, or I guess lack of skeletal muscle at old age is one of the leading causes of injury, because you end up breaking your bones very easily. Your bones become brittle over time. Personally, I think if you lock in your diet, you can also limit the amount that your bones get brittle, but either way, your bones get brittle over time. You need skeletal muscle. You need to be strong so that you can protect yourself at old age, but also right now at a young age, be more masculine. The more muscle you pack on your body, your metabolism gets higher. You're able to get more testosterone, and there's so many other benefits to it that I'm not really going to get into because I'm not a scientist or a doctor. But I know personally in my life, the more muscle mass that I've put on, the better and higher my metabolism has gotten. And so with that, lift heavy weights. There's not going to be a video on how to build an aesthetic physique, but I suggest you do dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells. I don't really lift kettlebells, so whatever, barbells. You can get injured on barbells, whatever. Choose what you like. That's just my preference. I like dumbbells the most. If you like kettlebells, I know they're great for core and other really great movements that I probably should be doing. If you like barbells, do barbells. I suggest sticking to those three. Assisted machines are cool. You can do them if you're doing some isolated workouts or some things that you don't know how to hit with dumbbells, kettlebells, or barbells. The reason I say that you should really lock in dumbbells, kettlebells, or barbells is because you can buy them for yourself to have at home, and then no matter where you go to travel, no matter where you move to, you can bring them with you and still be able to work out. Like I said, right now, I'm living in the eastern Sierra Nevada mountains. I'm about 25 minutes from the nearest city. I'm not going to go there every single day, 25-minute drive there and back, just to lift weights. That's a waste of my gas. And so I bought dumbbells. I learned how to do pretty much every workout I need to for every muscle with dumbbells. And so that's really what I do. So get into the gym, start lifting weights. And I suggest you do dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells. If you're into calisthenics, get into calisthenics, but do it. With that, when you're lifting, very simple, very easy. I'm just going to explain it very briefly. Progressive overload. Push yourself. Don't be one of those guys who's been in the gym 2, 3, 4 months lifting the same weights. That's stupid. If you're eating enough protein, if you're eating right, you should be able to raise the amount of weight that you're doing. If you're lifting right, obviously, and pushing yourself, you should be able to raise the amount of weight that you're doing every single week. Now, I'm not talking about jumping like huge amounts, but for example, let's say you're curling biceps, you start with 10s or 15s. I would say if you're hitting it twice a week and eating well, second, third week, you should already be moving up to 20s. If you're pushing yourself, if you're doing hard enough bicep workouts, you should be growing consistently. That goes for all muscles, shoulders, chest, back, triceps. You should be raising the weight. Obviously, do it at your own pace. Don't risk getting injured. Do it smart, but you should be raising the weight. I don't want any of you guys to be wasting a month, 2 months, 3 months of your life in the gym without any sort of progress. You need to be raising the amount of weight to build muscle. You're not going to build muscle by hitting the same weight every single week. Maybe you'll get really good at hitting that weight, but you're not going to build muscle. The only way that muscle is built is through muscle being torn, and the only way muscle is torn is by you lifting weights that are heavier than you're able to really lift. And with that, I'll kind of get into the specifics right now. Is 10 reps is too light. If you can hit 10 reps on a weight, that's not the highest you should be going. Yes, you can warm up. You can warm up with like 20s if you hit them for 10 reps on chest. And then after that first set, you're going into the next weight up. 6 to 8 reps is a sweet spot. That's how you know that's the amount of weight that you should be lifting. So stick to 6 to 8 reps. If you're able to hit 10, it's time to move up. That's my rule. Everyone I lift with knows when I tell them, when I see that they're hitting 10 reps on a weight, I tell them you got to go up next set. It's non-negotiable. It's BS for you to be hitting something that you can hit for 10 reps and hitting that for 4 sets. You didn't do anything. You didn't gain anything. All you did was maintain. It's stupid. So if you're out there in the gym lifting weights, you raise the amount of weight that you're doing. If you're able to hit 10 reps, you raise to the next weight up. With that being said, if you're not new to the gym, if you've been in the gym for a while and you're obviously already lifting weights, this is just a little gem for you guys. This is what's helped me get really, really big and also kind of save time in the gym. Supersets, drop sets, or lifting until failure. Mix and match them however you want to do them. Supersets are fucking money. Obviously, again, don't get injured, don't overdo it. But personally, for me, on push day, pull day, I'll pick 3 workouts and I'll superset them and I'll do circuits and I'll do like 4 sets. 4 sets, 3 different workouts, superset them. First set, I do a little bit of a lighter weight to kind of get the movement going and then raise my weight throughout the sets and obviously kind of try to get to a higher weight within the second or third set. But yeah, if you're trying to get bigger, if you're already lifting weights, the reason I say new beginners shouldn't be doing supersets, drop sets, or until failure, you can get injured, you don't know what you're doing. Get the form down first. If you're new to the gym, do quality reps, 10 quality reps with good form, and raise the weight from there. Quality form. Once you're comfortable, once you're able to like pick up a weight and just hit it with perfect form, because it's like muscle memory now, you're just used to the movement, the motion, and the form that it should be in, then you can start doing supersets, drop sets, and lifting until failure. Otherwise, you're going to get injured. I've gotten injured plenty of times in the past trying to be stupid with it, so don't do that. But if you're already in the gym, great way to get big: supersets, drop sets, and lifting until failure. Now, I threw in another bullet point in there. You can see it. Don't use rest as an excuse. My face is kind of blocking it. But the reason I'm bringing this up, don't use rest as an excuse, but rest properly, is because I know a lot of guys who will be like, oh, I'm only going to go to the gym like 2 days a week or 3 days a week. And then they never really make progress. On top of that, those are the same guys that aren't even eating right, but I'm not going to get into that. But really, if you're using rest as an excuse, saying you should only be lifting 2-3 times a week because you need to rest properly, that's bullshit. There's plenty of muscles in your body you can work out. Monday, you go hit chest and triceps. Tuesday, you go hit biceps and back. Wednesday, you go legs and abs. Thursday, you go shoulders and forearms. Friday, you go hit those isolated workouts, like maybe it's the traps, or maybe it's the rear delts, or maybe it's like the things like calves, the things that you maybe missed out on those extra days, and repeat. And with that, again, you don't have to do that extra day. Just get back into it. Chest and triceps. But at the end of the day, there's plenty of muscles you can hit. You can be going to the gym 5-6 days a week. 7 days is a little excessive, but if you want to, you can do it. As long as you're getting good 8 hours of sleep, you can be hitting 6 days a week easily and be getting big and not be getting too overtrained. Personally, my first 3 years in the gym, I was working out 6 days a week nonstop. I was eating right and I was eating a lot, and I got very big very quickly. And the reason being was because I didn't take too many rests like a lot of these people. I didn't make those excuses. I was in the gym all the time, eating right and getting good sleep. So really lock in your diet, lock in your sleep, and then with that as well, don't use rest as an excuse, but train properly. 5-6 days a week. 5 days is fine if that's really the most you'll go, but push yourself. Don't use rest as an excuse. You're not going to get there. You're going to waste time. And at the end of the day, it sucks to be in the gym for a year and really not see that much progress, because newbie gains is a real thing. And your first year of lifting, you should be putting on a good amount of muscle if you're eating right and lifting right. So that's what I have to say about that. So the last thing on this page is your diet. I'm going to go over this very briefly, and I'm going to make another video in the future going very deep into my diet and the way that I eat. Personally, like I said, I'm very into health, and diet is one of the biggest levers you can use to leverage your health and to really get into good health. A lot of people are very lean and loose with their diet, and it fucks them. So here's what I'm going to tell you. When you're in the gym, you're wanting to put on muscle, you eat at a calorie surplus if that's how you want to track it. Personally, all I say is eat anywhere from 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight every single day. Non-negotiable. You don't eat less than that. If you weigh 150 pounds, you're eating 150 grams of protein. You weigh 180 pounds, you're eating 180 grams of protein. If you want to get it through protein powder, that's fine, but make sure you're getting good protein powder. Don't get mass gainer. They fill it with a ton of bullshit. I know, I've taken it before. So get a good high quality protein powder. Eat Eat, chicken, eat beef. Personally, beef, best thing you could be eating. Fuck chicken. Chicken's okay. Yeah, it may have more protein than beef, but beef is going to give you so many more nutrients, saturated fat, and so much better things for your health outside of just fitness. But yeah, chicken, beef, eggs, fish, whatever. Fish not important. Shrimp is pretty good on protein, but chicken, beef, eggs, shrimp, cheese, milk, yogurt. Lock in on animal-based stuff. Don't be getting none of that plant-based protein powder. Don't eat like chickpeas or lentils or whatever plant-based protein bullshit that you find. Avoid that. That's not going to do anything for you. Most of those plant-based protein sources have chemicals in them like tannins, like oxalates, that basically stop your body from actually absorbing the nutrients and the protein, and you don't end up getting the amount of protein that it said it had in it. So fuck that shit. Avoid it. If you're going to get protein, get a high quality whey protein powder if you want to, or get it like me, get it straight from beef, chicken, eggs, cheese, milk, yogurt, whatever. You can find it very easily, high protein yogurts, whatever it is that you choose to do it that way. But you eat anywhere from 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. You work out hard, you sleep 8 hours a night, you're good to go. On top of that, I don't recommend keto. Don't try to lean bulk by doing keto. It's stupid. You're going to put your body under so much stress. You're not going to recover. Keto is very stressful on the body. People like to argue in the carnivore community or keto community that it's like the proper optimal way to be living. It's BS. If you really look at the science, it just causes stress on your body. It's basically starvation. Your body needs carbs, and if your body doesn't eat carbs, it's going to make its own carbs. So at the end, it's going to make its own sugar. So at the end of the day, eat carbs, eat a high quality carb. And with that, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I'll tell you right now, don't eat bread. Don't eat fried shit. So French fries, get that out of there. If you want fries, get potatoes, cook them yourself. Cook them in like ghee or beef tallow, whatever the fuck, if you want to. Basically, what I want to say is if you're a man that wants to live a better life, and I'm not just talking about in the gym right now, but I'm talking about in general, your diet should not have any junk food in it. It should not have any sweets or processed bullshit or snacks. You shouldn't be eating like that. You should be eating like a man eats, which is, at the end of the day, whole foods like rice, like chicken, like beef, like potatoes, like fruit, like honey or maple syrup. That's fine. Those are natural sugars, but you're not out here eating candy. You're not out here purging on fucking ice cream or pizza or toast or all this bullshit. Cut bread out of your diet. Cut bread completely out of your diet. Don't eat bread. The only bread you should be eating, maybe sourdough. Sourdough's fine, whatever. Don't eat white bread. If you're eating white bread, you're fucking up. Don't eat white bread. Lock in your diet. Don't go to Cane's. Don't go to McDonald's. Don't go to In-N-Out. Don't go to any fast food place that has a drive-thru. If your restaurant that you're going to or your food spot you're going to has a drive-thru, you don't eat there. Personally, I don't think you should eat Chipotle either, but Chipotle, Cava, much better options than any of that fried bullshit because you're going to get way less seed oils in your diet. And at the end of the day, you're eating like a man. You're not a fucking child going through a drive-thru getting your food. So, and that's enough to be said. I don't got to get into it. I'll make a whole other video on really how you should be eating properly. But at the end of the day, especially to support your gains and also just to support your life as a man in general, eat whole foods. Cook your own meals or buy meal prep or go to Cava or whatever. I don't give a fuck what you do, but eat whole foods. All right, last one, guys. Read every single day. I'm going to get into this a little bit because a lot of people have kind of given up reading since they were kids like myself, and you may not really understand why I'm saying read every day is important. Obviously, I made the list of top 3 things, so it has to be important to some degree. I could have put daily gratitude here. I could have put affirmations. I could have put journaling. I put reading. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I put reading. So first off, before I get into why I put reading, the way I'm going to put it is read either before bed or in the morning. Midday doesn't really make sense. If you're a busy person, you got work or you got shit to do, you're not really going to have time to read in the middle of the day. If you do, great, do it. But ideally, you want to make this a daily habit, something you can stick to. So find a way to fit it into your night routine or your morning routine. I read 30 minutes before I go to sleep. Read for 30 minutes, set a timer. Once it goes off, close the book, go to sleep. I think that's a great way to do it. It helps you kind of get a little bit more tired as well. But on top of that, at night, you have nothing to do after that besides go to sleep. So your mind is a lot more rested. You're able to really process and understand what you're reading and retain it better. And that's why I prefer reading in the night over in the morning. Because when you're reading in the morning, you got your whole day ahead of you. You're probably gonna be thinking about other things or rushing through it or this or that. That you're not really gonna retain as much information, especially if you had a really busy day that was full of other shit. You might forget what you read in the morning. So, if you can, if you have the time, if you can fit it into your schedule, 30 minutes before bed. If not, 20, 30 minutes in the morning is fine. Just make sure that you're obviously setting everything aside, distractions, setting a timer, and sitting down and focusing on what you're reading. Now I'm going to get into exactly why I added reading to this list. Smoking, very obvious reason to have on this list to live a better life. Same with lifting weights or getting in shape. Now I'm going to explain reading. So with reading, the whole purpose of reading, in my opinion, and the type of reading that I do is for education. I think, and I'm not going to get too far into conspiracy, but I think that school is designed to make you think that education is boring or stupid, so that once you get out of school, you stop educating yourself and become a loyal worker who stays in his spot and only learns when he is taught. And so I think that one of the best things you can do for yourself, for your mental health, for your overall intelligence, to feel better about yourself, feel happier, to feel like a smarter, more deserving human being in life, one of the best things you can do is educate yourself. Now, what you educate yourself on, that's completely up to you. If you're in a diet and health, go educate yourself on that. If you're in a philosophy, educate yourself on that. Fitness, educate yourself on that. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. All that matters is that you're consistently educating yourself, because the more you educate yourself, the more interesting you become to yourself, to other people, the more you start to respect yourself, the more you can actually bring to a conversation, bring to a relationship, and overall you'll just grow as a person. It'll change the way you think, it'll change the way you look at life. So yeah, a couple options on what you could be reading. I'm talking self-development, like Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, 4-Hour Work Week, Atomic Habits. All these books are popular for a reason. They hold a lot of valuable knowledge. I'm not going to sit here and say that you have to read those books. If you're in a discipline, you can be reading philosophy, spirituality, whatever interests you. But that's a great place to start if you don't know where to start. On top of that, you can be reading financial books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Complete Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, some other financial books out there. I don't know. I haven't gone too far into finance books, but I really should. That's another option. And then my personal favorite, philosophy and spirituality books. I just read a book called The Celestine Prophecy. I talked about it in another video very briefly. It is a fictional book, and that's why I put this line here: avoid fiction unless it's educational. It is a fictional book following a fictional story, but it is educational in spirituality and spiritual concepts. There's 9 insights in the book that are taught. All are real insights that apply to real life. And so with that, avoid fiction unless it's an educational book and the fiction is used to help make it more digestible. That's cool, whatever. But yeah, philosophy, spirituality, you can read Stoic literature like Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, or whatever you want to read. Now, the very last thing that I added onto here, which is not books, but it is another option that you can use to educate yourself, because again, like I said, the reason I put reading on here is educational purposes. Personally, I think books hold the best form of knowledge, because you're forced to sit down, give all your attention to it. If you can get physical paperback or hard copy books that you can just sit and read, that's the best way to do it, rather than reading it through a screen or whatever it is. But the other option here, if maybe you don't have the time to read every single day because some nights you're busy working late and then you got to go to sleep right away after, or whatever it is, if you really can't fit books in every day, try to fit them as much as possible. But you can also supplement your education through podcasts, through long form videos and audiobooks. I like to put in earbuds at work and listen to these. I like to listen to them while I'm driving. I like to listen to them while I'm working out. Whatever it is, that's a great way to educate yourself. If you can get Spotify, YouTube, whatever, start watching or listening to podcasts, long form videos, or audiobooks. But obviously, number one, I think, is go read a book for yourself. A lot of people will like to take a shortcut and listen to like book summaries, book reviews, things like that on YouTube. Sure, that works as well. But the argument that I'll make for why you should read a whole book yourself rather than just reading summaries to try to get the gist of it is that there's a lot of like individual like wording in the book and emotional concepts that are put in there by the writer, so that when you read it you feel some sort of way about the book, and that forces you to really internalize and at the end of the day help you implement those concepts in your life a lot better. then as opposed to if you read a gist that someone else typed up or a summary, you're not really going to get that emotional attachment to the book that you read, and you're not really going to be able to get as like serious about the things that you learned if you just heard it in a quick summary. One example for myself was I read a book called The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco. Amazing book. If you like business, I definitely recommend. I think it's a must that you should read it. That was one of the books that I read that I feel like really had an emotional connection with me in terms of the way that he articulated things in the book, the way that he explained it had made me realize so many things about day-to-day life, to where if I were to go back and just read the concepts that he put in the book, like the main concepts, whatever, they would make sense, but I wouldn't really be attached to them, as opposed to when you put stories behind it and when you really explain kind of like the progression path, and when you really tie emotions and other sort of like cues behind the wording that you use in the book, you know, that helps the reader to really digest it and implement it a lot better. So definitely recommend reading books in their entirety yourself, rather than going through podcasts, videos, audiobooks, and summaries. But if you can't dedicate daily habit to reading a book, and you can maybe do it twice, 3 times a week, that's fine too. Supplement it with podcasts, videos, audiobooks, and other things you can fit in. Because if you can educate yourself little by little every single day, trust me, you're going to grow a lot as a person within a very quick amount of time. I think education and wisdom is one of the biggest things you can give to yourself, especially if you're young like me. The more you can learn at a young age, the faster and way more ahead you'll be in life compared to everyone around you, and be able to achieve things at a much faster rate rather than when you're old. So that's my 2 cents. These are the 3 main things that I think that if you were to start implementing today, you would really better your life. If you're already doing all 3 things, great. Hopefully I taught you some additional ways to look at it, or things that you can tweak or adjust in your current routine to make it better. If you've never heard of these 3 things, or you've never tried these 3 things, or you don't do them currently, get on it. Quit smoking, get in the gym, start educating yourself. These 3 things will genuinely make you a happier human being, make you more interesting, more masculine, and overall help you to mature and grow as a man and live a much better life. So that's all I have for you tonight. I look forward to talking to you again in 2 days on my next video, and have a good night.